Rassie Rasmus and the Springboks have just announced their starting 23-man side to face Portugal this weekend in Bloemfontein. They've absolutely rung the changes. The only person to start this week that started last week against Ireland is Curtly Arendse. The other 14 players that are starting are completely different. The bench also looks completely different. So we're going to run through this. I'm going to give you my thoughts on these selections. Did Rassie make the correct decisions? Did he not? As always, let me know down in the comments what your opinions are. Leave this video a like and absolutely mur that subscribe button. Let's get into it. Okay, so let's start up front. Up front, we got Jan-Hendrik Wessels, Johan Grobler, and Thomas du Toit. Now, Thomas du Toit has had a very, very good season for Bath, and we were calling for him to sort of come off the bench for the Springboks against Ireland, and I do think he probably would have made a difference, but I'm glad to see he's getting a start here. Johan Grobler starts for the Bulls, plays for the Bulls as hooker. Jan-Hendrik Wessels is also sort of a replacement hooker, can also play prop for the Bulls. Very, very young. I think Jan-Hendrik Wessels is about 23 years old. So it's good to see that these Bulls players getting an opportunity. Whether Mchunu probably should have started or not is a debate for another day, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Jan-Hendrik Wessels and Johan Grobler and the likes of them get 40 minutes and Mchunu get another 40 minutes sort of coming off of the bench. We then move over into the lock department, and we do have a new captain. Salman Murat is starting alongside Archie Snyman, and we've been saying in the build-up to this series against Ireland that Salman Murat is in the squad because they see him as a leader, a future leader, and Salman Murat will be wearing the captain's armband this week against Portugal. Now, I do think he made a good impact coming off of the bench against Ireland at Loftus. Maybe not such a great impact coming off of the bench in Durban, but Salman Murat deserves a start. We're going to see his leadership capabilities, his captaining capabilities, and whether or not he will be a future leader for the Springboks or not going into that 2027 World Cup. Then Archie Snyman, I think, definitely deserves a start. I mean, he's been sort of that impact player that comes off the bench for the Springboks, that changes the game, injects some energy into that game, and for him to sort of get 60, 70 minutes instead of 20 to 30 minutes will do loads for his confidence, and could also sort of build a case for him to start alongside Eben Etzebeth in the Rugby Championship coming up. Then a completely new loose trio at the back of the scrum. Phepsi Buthelezi has been called up in that number 6 position. He will be winning his first cap for the Springboks, which is absolutely huge for him. I love Phepsi, and the fact that he's not starting at 8 and starting at 6 maybe shows a little bit of the thinking behind Rassie Erasmus. Maybe Phepsi Buthelezi is that replacement for Siya Kolisi at 6, moving closer to the 2027 World Cup. Coming in at number 7 is Ben Jason Dixon, who had a phenomenal season for the Stormers. He also provides that utility. He's almost like a Peter Steph du Toit. He can play 7, he can play lock, he can play probably 8 and 6 as well. So he provides Rassie Erasmus with a little bit of utility in that pack. Then 8, Evan Roos makes a comeback after his Wales performance, which I thought was pretty good. A lot of the comments on the video were saying that maybe he was a little bit selfish. It's not an individual game. He needs to look to pass and offload a little bit more. But Evan Roos is that Springbok number 8 mold. If you think back to a PSP, so Dwayne Vermeulen, that is who Evan Roos is. He's up front, he's dominant, he gets go forward ball, and that's exactly what we need from a number 8. It's completely different number 8 to the role that Kwagga Smith has been playing against Ireland. Evan Roos, I don't think will look to turn over as many balls, but he will look to win the contact, get over the game line, and definitely step up in the defensive line. We then move over into the back line, and a couple of surprising picks here for me. At number 9, Cobus Reinach. Now, I did think Cobus Reinach was going to play a part in the Irish series. Grant Williams sort of took that position. And I do think Cobus Reinach is one of our best scrum-offs. I think Faf didn't have a great game against Ireland in Durban. I thought Grant Williams coming off the bench was very impactful, and I was expecting him to get a start here. But Cobus Reinach does need some game time. He still is one of our best scrum-offs, and I think if Faf isn't performing, then you kind of have to look at Cobus Reinach or Grant Williams to start in the Rugby Championship. Cobus Reinach has done it for the Springboks. He played a vital role in the 2023 Rugby World Cup, and I think he's just going to go from strength to strength. Then at number 10, we have a comeback. Manie Libbok is back in a Springbok jersey. Now, before the Irish series, and this just shows how quickly opinions can change on a player. Before the Irish series, no one wanted to see Manie Libbok in a Springbok top. Pollard then had that performance he had at Loftus. He missed 3 kicks. He's not as fluid in attack as Manie Libbok. And a lot of people were saying, well, if Pollard's not kicking well and Tony Brown's system is more attacking, then surely Manie Libbok is the better fly-off. Yes, if he has a bad kicking day, then it's going to shift to Handré Pollard needs to start. So I think we just need to think, I personally think Manie Libbok is better suited to the Tony Brown system, and if his boot's working, I do think he has a higher ceiling than Handré Pollard. But Pollard then again showed his capability and why he is a back-to-back World Cup winning flyer for the Springboks in Durban, kicking 8 penalties for the Springboks, scoring the only points the Springboks scored in the entire game, and almost sort of got us back into the game. We were leading through Handré Pollard's boots, and then that drop goal was a little bit unfortunate. So I'm glad to see Manie Libbok get another start, another opportunity. You do sort of have to ask the question, does Sasha Feinberg Mngomezulu deserve a start in that number 10 jersey? We saw him come on for Willie Leroux in the 2nd or 3rd minute in Durban and did a pretty good job. A very, very different player to Willie Leroux. Doesn't kick as much, he runs, he beats defenders, he gets over the game line, and that's potentially why we got so many penalties, was because Sasha Feinberg Mngomezulu was running the ball back. You also have to think about and keep in mind someone like Asiya Masuku, who had a great season for the Sharks, and it's clear to see at the moment that he's not in the plans for Rassie Erasmus. Maybe Sia needs to have 1 or 2 more good seasons for Rassie then to be like, all right, let's give you a go in the Springbok top. And then Handré Pollard, I mean, he performed in the Irish test, not a great one at Loftus, a much better performance in Durban. So I'm hoping Manie Libbok takes this opportunity with both hands. I love Manie Libbok, and I think he could be our flyer for the 2027 World Cup. It's going to be interesting to see the game plan that Tony Brown and Rassie Erasmus implement with him at fly-off. Then if we look at the centres first, we've got Andre Esterhuizen and Lukhanyo. So Damien Delende wasn't in the squad to personal reasons. They've given Jesse Creel a nice rest. I do think they're still our 2 best centre pairing, but Andre Esterhuizen does provide something a little bit different to that of Damien Delende. He can get over the game line. He's a very good passer. He's very good on attack, and he fronts up in defence. And then Lukhanyo, I mean, we all know how good Lukhanyo is. He's been dealing with an injury. Jesse Creel then came in and replaced him. So it's going to be good to see Lukhanyo back in the number 13 position. He's a very, very good defensive number 13. He can also break open the attack from absolutely anywhere. So this does look like a little bit more of a fluid backline with Manie at 10, with Krobus at 9. Then the centre pairing Lukhanyo and Andre Esterhuizen is a lot more fluid than what we saw in the Irish series. Then the back 3, Makazole Mapimpi gets another shot in a Springbok jersey after that Wales test. I thought he had a very, very good test against Wales, as Rudy Page pointed out on the channel, that Mpimpi just doesn't have a bad game in a Springbok top. Kurtley Arendse, the only survivor from last week's game against Ireland, will be starting, and I think that's because Edwal van der Merwe is still dealing with a little bit of an injury. I think if Edwal was fit, he probably would have started, and they would have given Kurtley a little bit of a rest. Then at 15, I was expecting to see Sasha Feinberg Mngomezulu get a start either at 10 or 15, but at 15, Rassie has gone for Aphelele Fassi. Now, I do think this is it's a great selection. I mean, Fassi had a very, very good game against Wales. He had a great season for the Sharks. And a lot of people argued that potentially Fassi could have started in one of those Ireland tests. Willie maybe not at his best in the first one against Loftus, got injured in the second one in Durban. Now, hindsight is always 2020. It's always easy to look back and say we should have done this. But Fassi getting another shot in a Springbok jersey, and I think if he does perform like he did in that Wales test, we could see Aphelele Fassi play a very important role in the Rugby Championship. We then move over into the replacements, and Rassie has gone for a 5-3 split. I think this is just to give more guys opportunity. We do have a lot of guys in the backline that need some opportunity, and we have a handful of forwards that need opportunity, but maybe not as much as the backline. So starting off, we've got Andre Hugo Venter, which I thought could have even started ahead of Jan Grobler, but it is what it is. Mchunu, I thought probably would have started against Portugal, but like I said, I think that front 3 is sort of going to get 40 minutes and play. It's interchangeable. Whoever starts, I think they're going to play 40-40. Then the final prop is Trevor, and I do think Trevor deserves another shot. We know he is a little bit old now, 35, and I don't think he's going to be playing too much of a role in the 2027 World Cup, but I do think Rassie still wants to see what he can get out of Trevor. We know how good he was in the 2023 Rugby World Cup. We know how unfortunate he was in the 2019 World Cup. So it's going to be very, very good to see Trevor in a Springbok top. But then For the two last forwards, we've got Ruan Venter and Ulrich Loh. Now, a lot of people are asking, where's Ulrich Loh? He should have been in the squad to face Ireland. Well, he's getting his opportunity in here. Now, whether he's going to play 6, 7 or 8, we're still going to have to see. It's going to be very interesting to see who Rassie gives those 80 minutes to in those loose forward positions. Is Pepsi, Ben Jason Dixon or Evan Roos going to get 80 minutes? And then Ruan Venter, I mean, had a great season, deserves his shot. And I'm keen to see what he's going to deliver for the Springboks against Portugal. We then move over into the backs on the bench. There's 3 of them: Morne van den Berg, Sasha Feinberg-Ngumazulu, and Kewan Horn. Now, Morne van den Berg and Kewan Horn both played for the Lions, both had very good seasons, and we were asking questions before the Irish series, where are they going to fit in? Where is Rassie going to be able to play them? Is it going to be in the Rugby Championship? I think he's going to test them out here against Portugal. Like I said, I think Kobus Reinach probably going to get about 50 minutes. Morne van den Berg is going to come on and win his first Springbok cap and probably get around 20 to 30 minutes. He's a very, very nippy, very feisty little 9. So it's going to be good to see what he can deliver and sort of provide a little bit more depth in that 9 role. Because as we saw, Faf maybe didn't have a great game. Grant Williams is definitely on the radar. Kobus Reinach has done it over and over. And then to just have Morne van den Berg get some Springbok experience is invaluable to the Springboks. Sasha Feinberg-Ngumazulu, it's clear at the moment that Rassie Erasmus sees him as a utility back. I mean, he came on at 10 in Loftus. He came on at the 15 position in Durban. So I feel a little bit bad for him. I thought he was going to probably get a start in this game against Portugal at 10 or 15 or even 12. But it's clear that Rassie sees him as a utility back for now. And it's going to be very interesting to see when Damian Willems is back, where Sasha fits in this team, because I think he should fit in. I think he's one of the best players, young talents that we have coming through South Africa at the moment. Then the final player is Kewan Horn. Plays 15 for the Lions, had a very, very good season. And again, we're wondering, where's he going to fit in? Because you got Apelele Fassi, you got Willie Leroux, you got Sasha, you've got Damian Willems who's injured. So I'm happy to see that Rassie has found a spot for him to give him an opportunity in that number 15 jersey. A lot of people will probably comment on this video, where's Tyrone Green? Tyrone Green should be there. Look, there's just too much depth. I thought Tyrone Green was going to be included in one of these squads this year, but he hasn't. But I am excited to see what Kewan Horn offers, as well as Apelele Fassi. So that is the starting 23 to take on Portugal. A little bit of a shift from this massive test series between the Springboks and Ireland, 1 versus 2 in the world. But a test match like this is very, very interesting because it provides different players opportunities. We get to see different systems. We get to see different players in the Springbok outfits and how they connect and how we're going to front up against this Portuguese side, who are feisty. There's going to be a couple videos coming out this week sort of previewing this game and giving you a little bit more information about the Portuguese team and what we can expect from the Springbok side. If you haven't, leave this video a like, leave your comments down below, and absolutely mur that subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy. Peace.